Okay, so in part one, we figured out, where's the top? This video is linear matching and sorting part two for problem one. What we figured out in the part one was the equation of the line, which is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3, where the slope is negative 1/2 and the y-intercept is 3. And I explained both how to get the slope in three ways, really, and I explained what the y-intercept was. So in this one, because the worksheet has a lot of choices for the equation, this 7 comes from, we picked equation 7, but that doesn't look right, does it? It doesn't look the same as what I just told you. I just told you that our equation of the line is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. So it doesn't look like they match. But what you have to do to see what the answer on this one is you have to rearrange these equations so they all equal y. Right now these choices, some of them equal y and some of them don't. So to know how to pick the right one, you have to set them equal to y. Okay, so in this situation, we know that the answer is equation number 7. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to rearrange that. Plus 2y equals 6. So when we solve for, so let's type that in, you're going to do step 1. You're going to solve for y. So that means rearranging the equation. First we're going to isolate the y. X, we're going to move the x. So we're going to subtract, this is a positive x basically. If there's nothing in front of that x, it's positive. Positive x, so we're going to subtract x from both sides. So if you subtract x and subtract x, 2y, you'll end up with 2y equals 6 minus x. So now if we divide both sides by 2, so when you draw it like this, remember that you're doing 6 over 2 minus x over 2 over 2. And what that equals is this 2 over 2 cancels to a y. 6 over 2 is 3. And x, that's minus, you can think of this as 1. There's always a 1 in front of an x. It's a 1/2 x. Okay? So you can always, because you can always put a 1 in front of any x. And to make it look exactly like what we had, the equation of the line, it's supposed to be y equals negative 1/2 plus 3. So what we have so far is y equals 3 minus 1/2 x. But we simply move this to the front. The negative 1/2 x can be put in the front. And the plus 3, because it has no sign, so it's plus, can just go in the back. That's plus 3. So now our equation, y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3, which is what we calculated in the video, y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. Now we know that x plus 2y equals 6. We know that's the same thing as y equals, whoops, let me get that in the screen for you. We know this is the same as this. This is set equal to 6. We had to rearrange it and set it equal to y. So we know that equation 7 is our match for problem 1. 7 is the equation for graph A. Now, if we are looking at the slope and y-intercept, we know those. The slope is negative 1/2. Because remember that the formula, let's review that. The formula for a line is y equals mx plus b. Okay? So, what that means is this number, negative 1/2, is m, and this number plus 3 is b, the y-intercept. And I explained those two things in part 1. So, negative 1/2 is slope, plus 3 is y-intercept. So let's look at our choices. It says here it's choice 18. Okay, so we go down here and look at our slope-intercept choices. Choice 18 is slope negative 1/2, y-intercept 3. So we know that's correct. All right. So when you figure out your equation for the line, you've already automatically are able to answer this piece right here, slope and y-intercept. When you figure out your equation, however, when you go to choose from the equation choices, you may have to rearrange to see which equation matches the one that you created. Okay, so, and we'll go through another example of that. So, table of values. So what that means, according to this answer, 29 is our table of values. Well, you don't know what the answer is, so that's going to be this. What they're telling you is if we plugged in values negative 2, 0, 2, and 4, which they do for all of these, if you plug in the values negative 2, 0, 2, and 4, let's see what your y values are. Okay, so we're going to plug in x and y values. Using our equation that we just figured out, y equals negative 1/2 x. Yes, I am. My son is asking me if I'm recording. Okay. So, and our values to plug in, and you're going to do this for every one. Just plug in negative 2, 0, 2, 4. So we're going to go negative 2, 0, 2, 4. When you plug in 0 for x, remember that's the y-intercept. Whoops. I'm supposed to have plus 3 there. That's plus 3. This is our equation. Sorry. Our y-intercept is 3. We already know that this value is 3. When we plug in 0, let's prove it to ourselves. If x is 0, you have 0, negative 1/2 plus 3. So 0 times any number becomes 0. You'll have 0 plus 3. So y equals 3. Okay. So now if we plug in a value of 2 for x, then we will have y equals negative 1/2 times, we're replacing the x value now with this negative 2, and then plus 3. Okay? So negative 2, remember, becomes negative 2 over 1. When you're multiplying by fractions, you multiply the numerators, which is negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. 2 times 1 is 2. You have 2 over 2. If you remember your rules for fractions, anytime you have the number over the same number, 2 over 2, it equals 1. The reason it does that is because if you have a pie, a pizza, you cut it into 2 halves. So if you have, that's not working, that picture. 2 halves equal a whole is what I'm going to say. So 2 over 2 becomes 1. And 1 plus 3 is 4. Y will equal 4 when x is negative 2. When x is positive 2, let's just pretend that's positive. The 2 times negative 1 times negative 1 times positive 2 becomes negative. So negative 1 times a positive 2 is negative 2. So in this case, you'll have the negative 2, and then you'll have a negative 1. So that changes your answer to 2. So where x is 2, y is 2. Alright, so let's plug in. Remember what we're doing. This is the equation of the line for example 1. Anytime you plug in values for x, you're churning out, because these are all the input values, you're churning out the output values. Okay. Input values are x values. Output values are y values. Okay, output values are y values. When we plug in an x, it gives us the output y. When we plugged in x equal 2, we got y equal to positive 2. When we plug in x equals 4, and let me just show you again, we'll refresh completely. Negative 1/2, and we're going to plug in the x value of 4. So let's plug in 4 over 1 plus, we always have this plus 3. That's the equation. Negative 1/2 x plus 3. So when we multiply, you get negative 1 times 4, which is negative 4. 2 times 1, which is 2. Plus 3. Okay, so negative 4 over 2, that's equal to y, is a negative 2, because you divide 2 into 4 and the negative stays. So you have negative 2 plus 3 and that is, find the difference, which is 1, and it's positive because the larger number is 3, so you have y equal 1. So our set of values should be negative 2, 4, 0, 3, 2, 2, 4, 1. Let's look at our choices. Negative 2, 4, 0, 3, 2, 2, 4, 1. So our table is 29, and that's what the answer is for that one. Table 29 has the values that we need. Now the description. So let's go to a new video for the description.